Well, how that ties to Revelation 17 is the whole chapter is God hates religion. But why does he hate it so much? He hates it because everything started out with God being known. Adam and Eve knew him face to face. They walked around with him. Cain and Abel knew about him because their parents, once they got thrown out of the garden, the gateway to the garden, do you remember, was guarded by cherubim. Remember those massive, powerful creatures that are always flying around the throne? They were assigned to not let them in to the garden to get near the tree of life. So Cain saw the most powerful, vivid, visible representation of God in those flaming swords of the cherubim. And so paganism starts with Cain. That's why 1 John says, like Cain, who was of the devil. He was the first one that succumbed. Eve was tempted and sinned and was forgiven and redeemed and washed by the Lord. Cain wasn't. Abel believed and was righteous, Hebrews tells us. Cain wasn't. So paganism starts through Satan's first convert, Cain. And Satan's church began officially at the Tower of Babel in chapter 11. And again, that's in Genesis. And I'm not covering Genesis. But basically what we see today is the final religion that the Antichrist is going to lead. Now we're in Revelation. The Antichrist becomes the head of the final religion. And you know what the final religion is? Worship me. The Antichrist says. And who's living within him? Satan. And Satan's just there going, I've always wanted this. I've waited for this my entire thousands of years' existence. I want the world to bow before me. And that's what we see in the final religion. Well, Paul knew this was coming. What did he say in Galatians? You've already covered Galatians, right? Yes? Okay. If we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel to you than what we have preached to you, let them be accursed. As we've said before, we say it again. If anyone preaches any other gospel than what you receive, let him be accursed. Anathema, damned. Did you know all around us this final religion is forming? Do you know what the final religion is? It's everything everybody wants. It's kind of like putting it all together, all the parts from every global religion, and just merging them together around one thing. Satan's goal is for you to make your own way, doubt God, his word, his authority, his goodness, and his plan, and just listen to someone else. And that someone else, of course, is Satan. So, verse 2 introduces the drunken prostitute, the great harlot who sits on many waters. That is representative of all of Satan's infecting the world with going their own way. It's the Mayan, Aztec, as well as the Shinto and the Zoroastrianism and Buddhism and Islamicism and Romanism and liberal Christianity. It's all of them. And Jehovah's Witnesses and everything. It's all of his religions versus the not harlot, the true bride of Jesus. Remember how Paul described us in 2 Corinthians? When he says, watch out, Satan's an angel of light, and he wants to deceive you. Do you know what else he said? I have betrothed you to one husband that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. I like the way Paul describes that. Do you know he's talking to the Corinthians that he led to salvation, and he says, when I led you to Christ, I betrothed you. I was the instrument that brought you to the point where you're engaged to Jesus Christ. Now, young men, if you're engaged to a young lady, you have a particular attachment to her. You keep your eye on her. You're committing your life to providing for her, protecting her, being the closest person in the whole world to her. Young ladies, if you are betrothed, if you're engaged to a young man, he's very important to you. Now, if you're engaged and you see your boyfriend treating all the other girls the same way he treats you, or even worse, treating them better than he treats you, causes an emotion. Paul goes on to say, I'm jealous over you. And see, God is jealous That's what chapter 4 of James says. The Spirit of God that lives within us is jealous. Did you know one of the attributes of God is jealousy? That God is jealous of our attention. Religion is Satan captivating people's attention and having them worship and follow him. And we are so opposed to that because we're the true bride of Jesus.